opportunity for all UPSC CSE aspirants. Unacademy has brought the world's biggest gamified battle, the Unacademy Combat, absolutely free of cost. In this, you will be competing with thousands of aspirants. The combat is held on every alternate Sunday. The upcoming combat is on 7th February 2021 at 11 am. So enroll for free in this test series and get a chance to win an Academy subscription and amazing Amazon vouchers if you give the combat live. The Unacademy Combat is a golden opportunity for all the aspirants to check their knowledge on all the subjects. In the quiz, you will get the best questions which are set by Unacademy's top educators, and later they will be providing you with a detailed solution. After every question, you will be getting the right answer for that question, and you can see the rank and rating on the leaderboard if you give the combat live. Don't wait, start your preparation now with the Unacademy Combat. To enroll in this quiz, click on the link mentioned in the description, download the Unacademy app, select your goal as UPSC CSE and enroll in Unacademy Combat. Use the code DKT10 to unlock the quiz. Complete your preparation with Unacademy. Let's crack it.
Hello everyone. My name is Chandrima Atri and I'm making this video on my optional subject in the Civil Services examination, which is Political Science and International Relations. So regarding PSIR, I think that regarding any optional, what matters is your interest in the subject. So if you are genuinely interested in the subject, then I think that you should be free to opt for it, and any optional is scoring given the fact that you feel comfortable in it. So regarding PSIR, first of all, I would like to tell that knowing the syllabus of the optional subject is very, very important. तो जो भी syllabus है optional का, वो हमेशा आपके सामने होना चाहिए. मैंने अपनी रूम की वॉल पे पेस्ट करके रख रखा था, पेपर 1 का भी, पेपर 2 का भी. तो अगर आपको सिलेबस पता है तो उससे क्या होगा कि एक तो आप सिलेबस अगर देखते रहेंगे तो उससे आपको पता चलेगा कि मैंने कितनी प्रोग्रेस कर ली है अपने सिलेबस की कंप्लीशन में. अगर आप सिर्फ पढ़े जा रहे हैं और सिलेबस नहीं देख रहे तो यू डोंट नो हाउ फार यू हैव कम इन योर प्रिपरेशन एंड हाउ मच डिस्टेंस इज़ येट टू कवर बाय यू. सो उसके लिए आपको सिलेबस पता होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. उसके बाद जैसे कि सिलेबस में अगर मैं आऊँ तो इसमें 2 पेपर्स हैं, पेपर 1 और पेपर 2. जो पेपर 1 है उसमें भी 2 पार्ट्स हैं. जो पार्ट 1 है पेपर 1 का, वो है आपका पॉलिटिकल थियोरी. उसमें आपकी इंडियन थिंकर्स हैं, वेस्टर्न थिंकर्स हैं, उसमें आइडियोलॉजीज़ हैं, उसमें कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं पॉलिटिक्स के, जैसे डेमोक्रेसी हो गया, राइट्स हो गया, इक्वालिटी हो गया, जस्टिस हो गया. उसमें आगे सब टॉपिक्स हैं. तो ये आपका बनता है पेपर 1 का पार्ट ए. इसके लिए, इस पेपर 1 पार्ट ए के लिए मैंने सिर्फ शुभ्रा मैम के क्लास नोट्स को रेफ़र किया था. इसके अलावा मैंने और कोई सोर्स रेफ़र नहीं किया था इस पार्ट के लिए, क्योंकि मुझे लगा कि मैम के जो नोट्स हैं वो बहुत ही क्रिस्प होते हैं, उसमें काफ़ी इन्फॉर्मेशन कवर्ड होती है. तो अगर आप कोई बुक भी उठा के पढ़ेंगे, और मैंने भी ओपी गौबा ली थी थोड़े दिन के लिए, उसे पढ़ने का कोशिश पढ़ी भी थी इनफैक्ट, बट मुझे कुछ डिफरेंट नहीं लगा मैम के नोट से. जो भी बुक में मेंशन था वो ऑलरेडी मैम ने मेंशन किया हुआ था इन अ क्रिस्प एंड इन अ शॉर्टेंड फॉर्म. So I relied only on ma'am's notes for this part, which is part A of paper 1. Now part 2 of paper 1, which is the Indian part, Indian government and politics. उसमें you have different topics such as Indian nationalism, you have the making of the Indian constitution, salient features of the Indian constitution, then you have judiciary, you have grassroots democracy, statutory institutions, federalism, planning and economic development, caste, religion and ethnicity in politics, party system, and then social movements. So for Indian part, again my basic source was ma'am's notes, nothing apart from that. But because this section is very dynamic, so you have to complement it with your newspapers. So I relied on Indian Express as my basic source for current events. In that you have to be updated about the recent developments. For instance, if the RTI Amendment Act has happened, so you need to know about this because it is mentioned in the syllabus. Now there is a topic called social movements in this part. So suppose a new movement has been started, such as farmer protests are happening, pro-democracy protests are happening, so you need to be updated about that. Yellow Vest movement in Paris. So these are very dynamic topics and you need to cover them holistically from any newspaper of your choice. So part 2 again, ma'am's notes and then your newspaper. Now for paper 2 of PSIR, which is the first part, part A of paper 2 is comparative politics and international politics. So in this part, again the theory part was only based on ma'am's notes, Shubhra ma'am's notes, the nature of political theory, comparative politics, then state in comparative politics, politics of representation and participation, what are the approaches to the international relations, realism, liberalism, key concepts in international relations, national interest, security, power, changing international political order. So all these topics are mentioned in the syllabus, and I have the syllabus in front of me. So United Nations was one, contemporary global concerns. So this was part A of paper 2. So all the topics that are mentioned in this part, I did all from Shubhra ma'am's notes, but yes, you have to be updated about the current developments, because these are also very dynamic topics. Again, ma'am used to provide certain handouts regarding these topics. So those handouts were read by me, and also the other thing is the test series, which I'll mention later. Now coming to the part B of paper 2, which is the India and the world, which is your international relations. So in this area also you need to have the certain information on the background of every relationship. For instance, India and Africa, India and Latin America, India and USA, India and Russia. So all these relationships you need to cover. You need to know the basic background and the historical developments that have taken place, and after that the current developments. So again, for this paper also, for this part also, newspaper was another source, Indian Express was another source. So articles by C. Raja Mohan or by Harsh V. Pant. So all these articles become important for this part. Now after covering the complete syllabus from any source, for me this source was Shubhra ma'am's notes, I made my own notes on second reading. For instance, these are my short notes which I made after the first reading of the notes. So what I did was I just jotted down the keywords, the key scholars and the key ideas. I did not extend entire note on the paper, just the key terms, so that when I revise I need not go to the original notes, just I need to just flip these pages and all the information will come back to my mind. So you can maintain short notes like these will help in the last minute revision, and these will also help in memorization. So if you are reading just from the notes, and if you're after reading you're going to write the test, then you will not get all the points in your mind while writing the test. But if you have made the short notes, then those ideas have been ingrained in your mind, and if you write the test, then those things will come to your mind naturally. So I advise making short notes after reading the original notes. Now, answer writing practice. For optional, especially for PSIR, answer writing forms the soul of the optional preparation. I wrote a lot of tests on the selected short topics, the selected topics, and also the full length tests. So answer writing is very important, because if you have read everything but you're not able to present your ideas in a convincing way, in a way that examiner understands what you're trying to say on the paper, then it does not matter how many books you have read, how many times you have revised, it does not matter if you're not able to present your ideas convincingly on a piece of paper. So for answer writing, I joined a test series. I joined the crash course of Shubhra ma'am before mains and after prelims. And I used to attend IR classes by Shubhra ma'am also, because in those classes ma'am used to update the IR part. So we need not refer to so many newspaper sources before mains exam, because already we have less time to cover everything. We have to read GS also, essay, we have to practice essay also. So ma'am made a lot of things easier for us, and she updated us with every IR development that was happening around the world. So that made our task easier. For answer writing, I made my own strategy, and that strategy I could develop because I had written so many test papers that after writing say 10-15 tests, I got to know that this type of writing is fetching me marks and this type of writing is not fetching me marks. So my strategy for answer writing was, then at paper 1 has your theory part and has your Indian government part. So in paper 1 I used to have a good introduction and a good conclusion. These two parts are must in every answer: good introduction, good conclusion. Now After that, you need to mention scholars, because see, any person will have a vague idea about any topic of the optional, because that is common to your GS2 paper also, where we have constitution, polity. So for making political science answers very specific, you need to incorporate scholars' names in your answers. Different scholars and what their views are on a particular topic will make your answers more conceptual, will give your answer more depth, and examiner will also think that you have read so many different viewpoints of different scholars, that you have actually read so many things. So mentioning the name of scholars is a must. A good introduction and a good conclusion, that is also very necessary. Then you can mention various examples, various reports. Now reports, I mean in Indian government part, where you have the Panchi Commission reports, where you have the Sarkaria Commission report. So in the Indian government part, there are various reports, second ARC. So you need to quote those reports in your answers, so that your answers become informative. And examples, suppose a question comes on, say, democracy. A question comes on democracy, and if there is any particular instance happening in the world related to democracy, such as say pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. So if you can quote that example in your answer in a way that is related to the answer, then that would fetch you more marks. Then there is a concept of interlinkages. Interlinkages are very important in political science, because every part of political science is interrelated. So if you are suppose writing something on equality, then you can incorporate human rights also into it. If you're writing an answer on Indian thinker, and something has already been said by a Western thinker, so you can quote those two things and you can show the interlinkage. So that will show your depth of understanding, and the examiner will think that you can actually form interlinkages from different topics of the paper. Now, one important exercise apart from giving actual tests is reading toppers' answer booklets. So ma'am used to distribute toppers' answer booklets to us, and I relied on those booklets a lot. I used to read those answers that toppers have written, and I used to compare my answers with those answers, that where is it that I can improve my answers so that it reaches that level. So what I found was that nothing extra had to be done. It was just a matter of incorporating certain small changes, such as if you could mention certain data, if you could mention certain report, if you could mention a beautiful quote. So these small changes are all that is required. Now in paper 2, again, scholar's name is very, very important. And now in international relations, because in international relations you need to give a futuristic conclusion about the relationship of India with any country. So your solution needs to be very futuristic, very positive, and a pragmatic solution. It should not be something which is based on fantasy or too idealistic. It should be pragmatic. And you can also give historical perspective in your answers in IR. For instance, if suppose India Nepal, so you can mention the historical friendship between India and Nepal. You can mention that they have a roti beti relations. So these kind of things you need to incorporate. Now you can also put data, for instance, to show the economic interdependence between two countries. You can show how much the trade is in terms of the share of GDP between the two countries. So those things have to be incorporated in your answers. Now in every answer, I ensure that I write at least 2 scholars. Now more than 2 scholars will be too much, because you don't have to put too much information. You should develop the idea while answering in your own words in simple language. Do not put too much jargon, because that will give headache to the examiner. He or she cannot read every answer with which has a lot of details, a lot of jargon. Use simple language, but also mention scholars, but in a limited way. So I put my limit on 2 scholars, not more than 2 scholars for any answer. Now for IR part, if you have to write an answer on a relationship between 2 countries, so you need to think on different dimensions. Now what are the pillars of relationship? There can be economic, strategic, political, domestic, cultural. There can be other compulsions. So you need to address each dimension of this relationship. Now I used to begin with one good quote which could be my introduction, wherein I could introduce the name of a scholar, or I could just mention the quote. Two scholars' viewpoints I've already told you. Then way forward suggestions, conclusions I've already told you. On data, you can mention trade data, you can mention investment data, remittances, you can incorporate diaspora angle, what is the world standing of the country. Then you could incorporate an IR, the new projects that have been launched, then the latest visits that have happened, new agreements that have been signed, new events that have occurred. Then you can go for the history of the relationship, then what is the Indian government's position on that, why is that position, you can explain that position. Then you can also be broad or you can be narrow. So you can write the answer on a broader context, what is the relationship in terms of the world situation, in terms of the geopolitics of the entire world, the global dynamics, or you could be narrow and refer to a particular region. For instance, what is the relationship in terms of this particular region of the world. Then people, you can write an answer on in terms of hard power, in terms of soft power. So in that you could incorporate tourism, what is the goodwill build, what is the diaspora angle, aspirations of the people, student exchanges happening between the countries. Then there are different dimensions in terms of values, culture of the two countries, national interest, proximity of the two countries, what are the disputes between the two countries, who is the common enemy, who is the mutual friend. Then what are the regional interests, what are the global interests. Then what is the mindset of each country, what are the intentions. Then the personality factors also come into play, the leadership factors. So this was just to tell you that how I divided the parts of my IR answers. I analyzed the IR relationship in terms of all the dimensions that I could think of. So your answer should reflect this much of analysis and this much of dimensions. So this was for dynamic portion, which is the international relations portion. Apart from this, I think what helped me to secure a good rank this time, apart from this analysis and this preparation and the reading that everyone does in the examination, is practice. So I began my answer writing practice way back before one year before my actual mains. So mains was in September 2019 and I started writing political science tests in October 2018 till March 2019.
Golden opportunity for all UPSC CSE aspirants. Unacademy has brought the world's biggest gamified battle, the Unacademy Combat, absolutely free of cost. In this, you will be competing with thousands of aspirants. The combat is held on every alternate Sunday. The upcoming combat is on 7th February 2021 at 11 am. So enroll for free in this test series and get a chance to win Unacademy subscription and amazing Amazon vouchers if you give the combat live. The Unacademy Combat is a golden opportunity for all the aspirants to check their knowledge on all the subjects. In the quiz, you will get the best questions which are set by Unacademy's top educators, and later they will be providing you with a detailed solution. After every question, you will be getting the right answer for that question, and you can see the rank and rating on the leaderboard if you give the combat live. Don't wait, start your preparation now with the Unacademy Combat. To enroll in this quiz, click on the link mentioned in the description, download the Unacademy app, select your goal as UPSC CSE and enroll in Unacademy Combat. Use the code DKT10 to unlock the quiz. Complete your preparation with Unacademy. Let's crack it.
I was writing my tests. Then after March, I devoted all my time to prelims. Then after prelims, again I started writing the full length tests of political science. So writing practice is a must, but just writing tests is not enough. After writing those tests, you need to analyze where you are going wrong, what kind of answers are fetching marks, how your answers are comparing to the toppers' booklets, and how you can improve on them. And the only mantra is constant improvement. So constant evaluation, monitoring of your preparation, how much progress you have made, and then constant improvement. So that is all that is needed for the optional preparation. Thank you so much, and all the best to all the aspirants. Thank you.